Hey, welcome to today's Q&A. Thank you so much for joining me. It is time for you to ask your questions, get them answered. We're talking trucking, so any driving job position available here at Decker. We're all about answering those, making sure that you have all of the details, know the benefits, what the orientation process looks like, the whole shebang. So feel free to get your questions answered, put them in the chat, and as I see them, I'll answer those. Let's talk about some of the available positions, and then I'll swing back around to go into a little bit more detail based off of where you live. If you're wondering what we have available here at Decker, please feel free to put it in the chat. Where you're coming in from, and then I can, if you tell me where you're located as far as home time, I can be more specific on the job opportunities. Hey, happy Tuesday to you, Riley. How are you? How was the drive through Montana last week? All right. So here at Decker Truckline, we do have a couple of different opportunities available. We have solo company, we have a team company position, and then we have our owner-operator opportunities. So whether you're solo or team, we have owner-operator opportunities as well. So let's try again. We will talk about our company positions. We'll also talk a little bit about our owner-operator positions. But as always, I have, or at least as of most of the time, I do have a telephone number coming across the screen here that hopefully you can see, 877-433-2537. That is to our recruiting department. I just realized that I have the date on here as the 7th. It is the 14th for all of you wondering. Is it the 7th? Is it the 14th? It's the 14th of October. The 14th. So there you have it. Please, again, if you have questions, put them in the chat. Let's get those answered for you. All right. Flatbed. Flatbed is the position that we currently have the most opportunity available for. So if you are looking for flatbed opportunity, again, that number, 877-433-2537, that's the number to our recruiting department. Get a hold of them. They'll be there to answer your questions. Bryce and Mitch will be right there. As far as especially areas of the Midwest, we've got great home time opportunities because it's a weekly home time. It does have a minimum pay of $14.50 a week for that Midwest flatbed opportunity. And we also have an $8,000 sign-on bonus that's attached to it. So, and of course that pays out within the first year. At 6, 9, and 12 months is how that pays out. But again, for more details, please reach out to the recruiting department so we can be more specific to you and your experience, your questions, really. So let's do that, okay? As far as our over-the-road flatbed opportunities, we definitely have OTR options. We run about 2 weeks out at a time for the OTR division. So you're looking at coming home about every 12 to 14 days in the over-the-road flatbed. We run mostly east of Denver. So if you drew a line at Colorado and then everything east of there, it's going to be more in our flatbed region. We might have some out west, but most of it's going to be within the Midwest, as well as towards the east. So real strong within the Midwest, and that's why we have our specifically our Midwest division as well. Now our OTR division, we do a lot in the Southeast as well as in the Midwest, but it's not solely Southeast. You'll still be seeing, just be aware that you could still be seeing some snow, some of the Chicago area, Minnesota. I mean, you'll overlap with some of the areas of the Midwest is what I'm getting at. So again, if you have questions, 877-433-2537. I'm going to keep telling you that number because I think that's really going to be your best bet as far as getting your most pertinent questions answered, so that it's more relevant to you. What else can I tell you for the flatbed? Whether you're over the road or you're regional, as far as our flatbed divisions are concerned, we do require 6 months of experience for 6 months of experience that is flatbed specific, in order to run solo. So we do require that first. If you don't have that, but you live in areas of the Midwest, then yes, we can train, as long as we've got a trainer available at the time, we can train. Otherwise, you're will need the 6 months minimum of flatbed experience. Okay. Now, that's going to be tacked on to part of our orientation process, and I'll talk to you about that here in just a second so that you are aware of all the details there. As far as the over-the-road flatbed, though, running lanes, Midwest flatbed, running lanes, you're real heavy in the Midwest, headed towards the east. Texas to the Carolinas, quite busy. We even have a home weekly opportunity in the Bessemer area. Bessemer, Alabama, I should probably mention the state, Alabama, over to Georgia. So anywhere along 20 there to Atlanta, Georgia is going to be a home weekly opportunity for our flatbed. Again, for more specifics and availability, it's 877-433-2537 for that. We do teach securement, tarping and securing. We are a lot of drop and hook, but obviously you'll still need to be tarping and securing a lot of those loads. Oftentimes they will be pre-tarped, but as a driver, you definitely want to make sure that it's to the standards that you should and do have. So perfectly. So yeah, flatbed orientation for flatbed is out of Fort Dodge, Iowa. That's our main terminal. That's where we do both orientations, or all orientations, I should say. So and we would take care of your transportation here, of course, take care of your meals, all that good stuff while you're here. Hotel, yeah. All right, so that's our flatbed opportunity. We do have some positions currently available, both in the Midwest and the OTR, and Bryce and Mitch can get you situated on that one. Situated. Riley says, my trip across Montana was awesome. Love crossing through that state when I run out to Washington, Oregon. Love running west. That's awesome. Yeah, it is. Now, we didn't have any snow when you came through, right? Because we have, I'm trying to think, I think we got snow. That's right. Because we got snow, I think, Saturday night, Sunday. Hey, Sean, how are you? Also from my neck of the woods. Yeah, speaking of. How are you, man? All right, so for our refrigerated options, we do have over-the-road refrigerated, which is more coast to coast. Our refrigerated options are going to be cover more territory usually than our flatbed. Although the number of miles in the flatbed, I don't want to lead you astray, because the number of miles in the flatbed are very strong. They're just not they're not as long of a length of haul necessarily on average as our refrigerated. Some of them, yes, but you're not probably going out to Washington State or Oregon for flatbed as likely as you would be for refrigerated. Now, we can also, if you live in areas of the Midwest, we can also keep you, for the most part, within the basically east of Denver. But with our refrigerated, and this is refrigerated that I'm referring to, with our refrigerated, it is coast to coast, so you could get a run over towards the west and then coming back pretty quick. Depending on where you live, you're looking at either an 11-day out and then a 3-day home option, or a 21-day out and a 5-day home option. So we've got both rotations available. We have one more option, but that, for the most part, when it comes to our over-the-road or more expanded divisions, that's what you're looking for. Long length of haul, you've got good miles, you've got consistent miles, and of course your rate of pay is going to be based on your experience level. I didn't mention that for flatbed, but yes, rate of pay per mile is based on your experience level, cents per mile. The Midwest flatbed does have a minimum of $14.50 per week. As far as the pay is $14.50 per week minimum, but again, your rate of pay per mile and the miles you run probably exceed that. At least that's what we're seeing for our averages, because we're seeing up over 100,000 for the year on averages for those, both in that and refrigerated. So, yeah. Let us know if you have more questions on that. As far as we do have one option or one area that we do have a 5 days out or home weekly. This one is also paid mileage pay. there is this for refrigerated. So it's home weekly, guaranteed on the weekends. You are definitely running shorter miles in that one, especially with the guarantee on the weekends, because the other ones can't necessarily do that without cutting into your miles. So you're probably not going to get as many miles with that home weekly, which is probably a given, but it does definitely give a great opportunity if you're needing home on the weekends. That's the one that you're going to want to take a look at. Either way, 877-433-2537. Columbus, Ohio area, Toledo, Ohio, Indianapolis. I think those are the areas that we have that home weekly. Not a very big area for the refrigerated, but we do have it. So, yeah. Let's see. Orientation again, Fort Dodge, Iowa. And we take care of your hotel and your meals. We take care of your transportation there. Normally it's a rental car. Sometimes it's a flight, depending on where you're coming from. If we're talking Washington State, probably want to fly. Not everybody, but that's an option. Coming from Georgia, coming from Georgia for flatbed or Florida for flatbed. Yep, we can bring you in there with a flight. So either one will work. But again, 877-433-2537 for more answers to your questions. Orientation. Before you even dive into orientation, we want to make sure that you obviously meet our qualifications. You must have either 6 months of tractor trailer experience. If you're going into the flatbed division, it needs to be specifically flatbed specific. Flatbed experience. There you go. In order to start to run solo with us here once you've completed orientation. So you do need 6 months of experience. Now, if you don't have 6 months experience, we do have a training program. But when you're looking at pay and you're looking at miles, and for the most part, most of our professional drivers who are coming on are definitely experienced drivers. So if you have questions about the student program, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to assume you're an experienced driver wanting answers to your questions, and I'm going to go down that path, all right? That's the branch I'm going on. So 6 months of experience minimum. You are paid mileage paid based on your years of experience. So that's the more experience you have, the more pay you get per mile. 10 cents per mile is per diem, so you're not taxed on 10 cents a mile. And of course, like I said, we've got our averages. These are averages that you guys were asking for a couple weeks ago. But the averages on the flatbed side, we're seeing a little over 100,000, 112, I think, 112 a year. And you're seeing right around 110, 112 for refrigerated as well. So 110, I think, to 112 for flatbed and 112 for refrigerated. That's where we're at. I believe those are my numbers. So, but again, you can get those specifics from the recruiting department as well. 877-433-2537. Once you meet the qualifications, so no major moving violations, no DOT recordable preventable accidents, no CSA violations in the last 3 years that are considered major moving violations. Now, if you have a light ticket or maybe a 5-over speeding ticket, something like that, we can work with those in the last year or even 3 years, as long as you don't have, in the last year, no more than 1, in the last 3 years, no more than 2 of those tickets. Now, if you have a major moving violation, they have to be at least 3 years old. So that's very important to know. So any following too close or erratic lane change or careless, reckless, 15-over speeding ticket, all of those have to be at the very minimum of 3 years old. And the same with DOT recordable preventable accidents. If you have a preventable accident, it has to be at least 3 years old. Now, a backing or maybe a turning incident, if it wasn't DOT recordable, meaning that there was no fatalities or no injuries, no ticket, well, the other one would usually be based off of the insurance company. If the insurance company deems it recordable, that's another a flag that would deem it not DOT recordable. But those are different factors that you can consider. So none of those within the last 3 years. No DUIs, DWIs, nothing like that. going to last 3 to 5 years either. There you go. So that's qualifying. We do work with ages 21 and older as long as you have a valid Class A CDL. If you are a recent graduate, then we will talk more about that in on the one-on-one with your recruiter. But otherwise, as an experienced driver, that's what you'd be looking at for Flatbed and for Refrigerated. Now, orientation is 3 days long. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We take care of your hotel, your meals, like I said, while you're here. And then once you've completed the orientation process, which actually does begin before you even come to Fort Dodge, we have an online orientation that you'd complete. And that's a number of modules. You'll complete those. Kind of gets you prepared for orientation. So some of those things that would be, you could kind of go at your own speed on, those are what we'll have you do ahead of time. We also have you do a physical and a drug test, and 2 drug tests actually ahead of time, hair follicle and the urinalysis. The physical, if you have a physical that's good for another 6+ months, we could probably use that as long as you send over your long form and we just get it approved that way. Otherwise, we'll set you up with that. And we do those before you come to orientation so you don't have that downtime when you get here. During orientation, we'll go over our additional company policies and procedures, but we'll work even more hands-on with our geotab, knowing how to use that unit. You'll visit with the different departments, get to know them and the communication style between them, as well as walking through the truck with the maintenance department. The maintenance team, if you have, well, you obviously have access to YouTube, but if you would like, you can kind of go through our YouTube channel and just explore some of the tutorials and the details on the amenities of our trucks. The maintenance department, there we go, actually has taken the time to go through and show you how to use a lot of our amenities. There are a lot. We have an APU, we have an inverter, refrigerator, microwaves, we have a 22-inch television with Epic View streaming and free Wi-Fi. That's all company paid. The trucks are double bunk. They come with CB units. They come with the lytics system. Now, the lytics is our safety unit that's in the truck. It does include both inward and outward facing event recorders, lane departure, speed gauge. All of those are kind of encompassed in that lytics system. The video recorders, they are not a live feed. So if you turn the truck off, the interior one will turn off. And it's not a live feed anyway. So it will turn on during a triggered event. So if erratic lane change or speeding or following too close, hard braking, those are things that would trigger the inward one coming on. But when you turn the truck off, that is turned off. The outward one, however, will stay on for 4 hours once you turn the truck off. So a little bit difference there with the lytic system, but that's a safety unit that we have available. We also have a bonus that's connected to that safety unit, or the communication through it. So the lytics safety bonus is an extra penny per mile on all the miles that you complete for the previous month. Our performance bonus is based off of a number of factors, but that's an extra 4 cents a mile that you can earn. So total of 5 cents a mile as a company driver, both flatbed and refrigerated options for the monthly bonuses. So yeah, more on that. So as far as additional amenities, what else? They're double bunk. I said that. They have the, of course, Best Pass and DriveWise and the Geotab unit, TransFlow in the truck. They are radio ready, so if you have a Sirius Radio subscription, you can do that. However, like I mentioned before, we have free Wi-Fi. So if you stream books, if you stream podcasts, you have all of that access to you. Music, depending on if you listen to music through a podcast too, we've got that. Spotify, whatever. The TVs are smart TVs, so you can stream through multiple things there, but it is 100+ channels that company paid. And yeah, lots of amenities in the truck. Lots of them. We do have a pet policy. It's a dog policy, so no more than 80 pounds combined, non-aggressive breed, and of course, shot records, normal thing, shot records, picture. It's a $500 deposit for the pet, for the dog. Now you can have up to 2 dogs. no more than 2 dogs, no more than 65 pounds combined. Pounds combined, yeah. Did I say that right? So that's for the dog policy. We do ask that you have or do require that you have a seat cover on your passenger seat for your pet. So make sure that you've got that covered. So yeah. When you've completed the 3-day orientation, you'll walk through the truck with the maintenance department, go through the list of making sure that we've got everything covered, that you know how to run everything, and then that's usually when you're dispatched out. Now, as a flatbedder, if you need additional, for tarping and securement, we'll do that training following the orientation as well. So you've got the hands-on training available to you. We do pay you $500 for completing orientation, and then get you dispatched out, put you to work. That's what you came for, right? You're like, yes, that's exactly it. So benefits all start after 60 days. It is medical, dental, vision, prescription. We have $0 copays on our prescription. I want to shout that out from the mountaintop. I think that's fantastic. $0 prescription. We also have $0 prescription benefits on our specialty and brand name. Not our specialty and brand name, but on specialty and brand name prescriptions. So you feel free to check that out or get more information from your recruiter if need be. Again, 877-433-2537. If any of this is sounding like something you're interested in and you want to get an application in, go to drivedecker.com. There's some information on the page, but if you do, you can either fill out an app there. The recruiter will get the information. They'll reach out to you, and just make sure everything is aligned, everything's correct as far as location and what we can get you for home time and experience and all that good stuff. So they'll walk through all of that with you and be sure to answer any of your questions. But anyways, that is at drivedecker.com. Then we've got, I guess moving on for benefits, we also have a 401k. It's a 25% match on the 401k. Company paid life insurance, paid vacation. Let's talk PTO. So we have 6 months, at 6 months of PTO, or at 6 months, you get PTO. There we go. It's a week long for PTO at 6 months, and then you'll get another week on your 1-year anniversary. And then it's annual, a week every year. When you hit your 3-year mark, you'll go up to 2 weeks a year, and then you'll go up to 3 weeks a year on your 7-year mark. So that's the progression. So, yeah. JQ. Hey, Jack Quinn, right? Is that right? Tuned in last week and on Facebook. Yes, I'm the guy in the Amarillo with no experience. So I ended up getting on the local and ready mix. Ultimately, I do want to come to Decker. Well, awesome. Yeah, get some experience. Get yourself a little bit of experience, especially when you're there local. And tractor trailer. The more you can get experience wise with tractor trailer, the better. Yeah, if you can get that tractor trailer experience with the concrete, that is going to be ideal for you. It's going to give you a whole lot more options, more leverage with opportunities for sure. Cool. Well, congratulations. Congrats. Hopefully we'll be working together down the road, right? Oh, there you have it. It does have belly dump. I missed that comment. I'm sorry. When I relocate to Dallas within the year, my question is, will the concrete? That's exactly right. As long as it's tractor trailer, you should be all right. But that's the important part. It needs to be Class A driving. So I do plan to cross the train. Awesome. Cool. Well, again, congratulations. It's good news. Amarillo is a good area for us. We've visited about this before. Amarillo is a good area. Dallas is even better, especially when we're looking at flatbed opportunities. You're welcome. Very welcome. Good deal. All right. Benefits. What about equipment? We talked a little bit about equipment. Most of our trucks are the 579 Peterbilts. We have a few Volvos and we have a few Freightliners. So as far as availability, it is on a week-by-week basis, but the majority, by far, are Peterbilts. So I would expect a Peterbilt to be available to you when you come aboard. But even though it's over 95% of our trucks, it might not be the one that is available. So I want to give you a heads up on the different models that we have, but also reassure you that as far as amenities, they all include the same amenities. There could be some differences between the style. I know that some of the fridges are a little bit bigger than the others. The most, like, we've got fridges that are like 3.5 cubic feet, so there's definitely some bigger fridges in there, and I think those are definitely on our newer models. Most of our trucks are their newer model to begin with. We have some 22s. I think we still have some 22s left. 23, 24, 25. So yeah, those are the years that you're looking at for the most part. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything as far as the equipment. Definitely newer model. And as far as trucks or trailers, we use Wilson trailers for the flatbed, and then our refrigerated are Thermo King carriers or Great Danes. So yeah, excellent. So if you're looking to come aboard, just reach out to us at 877-433-2537 and the recruiting department, or drivedecker.com, and the recruiting department can get you to where you need to be, make sure that you're qualified and all that good stuff. Fair enough? All right. So again, let's recap some of our current available positions. We have our flatbed, Midwest flatbed, $14.50 a week with an $8,000 sign-on bonus. That is currently available. It is a home weekly opportunity. We have our over-the-road flatbed opportunity as well. That's cents per mile. The cents per mile is also for the Midwest flatbed, but you have a minimum of $14.50 that you'll make. So there's a little bit different. The cents per mile is ultimately usually what you're going to be getting paid, because that's the better of the two, and you'll make the better of the two. Refrigerated is cents per mile as well. You're looking at, we have a 5-day option and home for 2 in a small area in Ohio, Indiana. We have our 11 days out and 3 days home. That's covering most of the Midwest and for hiring. And then our over the road kind of overlaps our Midwest and of course more out west. That is 5 days. Nope, just kidding. That is 21 days out and 5 days home. Sorry, I was trying to say it backwards. You're like, I would not make any money because I would be home too much. But yes, so it's 21 days out, 5 days home for the over-the-road refrigerated. But again, if you want to speak to a recruiter, feel free to give them a holler. It's 877-433-2537. All right, we will be back with you next Tuesday at noon Central, but you can also check us out on our Facebook page, facebook.com/DTLinc. It is getting colder out, so you guys make sure that you are prepared for the weather. We do want to remind you that when it comes to the fuel additive, you don't want to add that until you're getting close or below 18 degrees. So if you're hitting 18 or below, you definitely want to add the fuel additive. Make sure you reach out to the shop to get access to that, whether you're coming in and getting it from the shop directly or you're getting money on the card so you can purchase it. Now, if you're still sitting at like 30, 40 degrees, it is not going to do you any good. You don't need it, but obviously you're going to need it for the diesel if you're at 18 or below. And I'm not just talking about the truck. If you're a refrigerated driver, when you treat your truck, you're going to also need to treat your fuel for the reefer. And the fuel for the APU is also coming through the truck. So when you're treating the truck, you're going to need to treat. You don't need to treat the APU separately. I should probably say that. But just know that if you're not treating the fuel, it will affect your APU unit. And you want that thing to work when it gets pretty cold, right? All right. You're like, yes, of course. Duh. All right. I will let you be. You guys have a wonderful rest of your week. We will talk to you next Tuesday at noon Central.